Hello, everyone. So, today we are starting a program which is called the Reset Point. And this program is basically for all those people who are transitioning into something new or started something new, maybe a second innings. And I'm going to get a lot of people for you, very inspiring and motivating people on the platform who are going to be really a great inspiration for you all. So that is why it is called the Reset Point. And today, my guest is actually a very close friend of mine who has actually been very inspiring for me. And she is from the armed forces. So I won't take much of her time. And I would like to call upon Major Divya, who is going to tell us something about herself. Yes, Divya, take on.
My name is Major Divya. I am an architect by profession and also a retired army officer, married to an army officer who's a medical officer from the AMC. He's also retired. Both of us entered into the world of entrepreneurship and have our own businesses running presently. I also have a son. We are based out of Hyderabad.
So yes, Divya, welcome to this reset point. And you know why I chose her as my first guest? Because I have seen her transitioning from being a major to an architect, and she has actually created a beautiful house for me also. And not because she has created a beautiful house for me, she has made my dream come true. So Divya, my
Thank you.
first question to you would be, while leaving the army, it a conscious decision or something came upon you that you had to leave the army? Can you tell me something?
Ma'am, since I belong to the old entry scheme, which is the WSES entry scheme, where we have to complete 5 years, and then after that, we have an option to continue for five, and thereafter four, and we can leave the services. For me, after completing five, I've already finished 5 years of architecture. So by the time I complete five, I'm 30 years old. So for me to transition later after 14 years would be difficult because I'll be very old. So a conscious decision was made that if I am not having permanent commission in the army, I build my career outside the army since 30 is still an age where you can start whatever business you want and transition safely. So that was my conscious decision. I also served wherever I served. Served very good COs, commanding officers, very good mentors, and my family also supported me with this decision that I made. And my decision was to, end my career there and in the armed forces, and also start a new one uh, in the field of architecture, where I am basically where I did my education from.
Okay. So Divya, now that you have told me because of you short service commission, you had to leave. If given a chance, uh, had you had a permanent commission, would you have continued being
Yes,
in the army?
definitely, ma'am. Yes.
What was the thought behind it?
Ma'am, for
If
me,
given a
the way I see the organization is that it builds your personality. From being a very young, naive girl who was, coming from a very protected background environment. But yes, I come from a defense background. My grandfather was in the Air Force. My father was in the Navy. But there were no women in the forces, so that gave me an impetus to try my career in the army. And I also like the field of architecture because it's a very creative field. That's where my interest was. I thought of pursuing it, getting a degree, and then trying whether I can get into the forces. For me, seeing the personality of my the men in my house and the way the women also transitioned, their personality changed after they got married to men in uniform, and the kind of lifestyle, it really inspired me to get into the forces. And that is what made me stay. And if there was an opportunity, yes, I would have continued.
great, great, Divya. So tell me about the last few days that you wore the army. What was the feeling that was coming to you, and how did you sail through that?
See, the way Army groomed me during training when I joined my very prestigious my parent unit, and I'm from the Corps of Engineers. So all that you become comfortable with the organization at one point of time. And when you realize that it is time to transition, there is always a minuscule, a percentage of doubt which enters into your mind. For me, it was a dream. It was my goal to wear the uniform. It was a passion. Now, leaving it or hanging my uniform for the next phase or next innings of my life, yes, it was little emotional. But we all need to understand at that point of time that nothing is permanent and we need to find our journey. But yes, I attribute each and every success of wherever I stand today to the organization I served because it really taught me a lot of things. It really built my personality that I could take forward my life with, yes, being a major and also being affiliated to one of the most prestigious organizations in the country.
Amazing, Divya. So tell me one more thing. Since you have served in the army and you know both the sides of the story, so what? How has been your experience being coming from the armed forces and then serving in the civil or the corporate? So was there anything that you felt was very unique to the army, but became a liability when you were working outside?
One very important thing is, ma'am, using sir and ma'am, because when I transitioned into corporate life, it became very intimidating to people there saying that don't call me sir, I'm not too old, don't call me ma'am. Because when I went abroad to do my master's, I used to sir and ma'am everyone, but they corrected me. There, the lifestyle is different. Yes, we come from a very crisp price lifestyle in the army, and when we transition, the one thing is the lifestyle change. One thing is being disciplined. So one liability is that I don't call it a liability, but I just call it a transition shift because it is something which I realized, a realization shift that I have to be comfortable with the timelines and deadlines, which normally we are akin to perform within 24 to 48 hours. But in corporate, you have a deadline of like 1 month, 2 months, and then people take their time. So this is one thing I really had to get comfortable. But I also took other things. Also, I started studying in the meantime, doing certifications whenever I had time because I had to technologically build myself when I'm transitioning from army to the corporate because corporate is always building themselves as per state of the art technology, what is happening today. So that gave me a lot of time. So I don't call that a liability, but I take it as a positive approach to whatever was missing in the army or whatever was missing in corporate. I adjusted it at the same time.
Right. So, Divya, tell me, I think this is something that obviously, what is one thing that you would suggest to the outside, to the corporate world, which is there in the army and it should be kind of incorporated there and, it can make a lot of difference?
Which I would suggest to the corporate world is to follow timelines, discipline, also a way of conduct, because these are some things which are missing when it comes even team building. They have team building strategies, but what the way we our units, we become so strong and we become a family, and that I have seen being missing in the corporate world. Everybody is very materialistic. uh, there are a lot of issues when it comes to trusting, and that is something which when properly done with team building activities and understanding your co-workers, subordinates, seniors together, I think you can really build a good environment. But right now, if you see, the corporate has a very mixed approach. Sometimes the team lead is very good, sometimes he's materialistic, sometimes she is not interested. So that creates a lot of lag. And that is why you have different performance levels for which you are assessed, whereas that is not there in the army. There is a structured team building process which is already ingrained and for which we are already groomed from day one. And the hierarchy of systems is one thing which is missing in corporate world. Of course, a junior can also overtake you and become a senior. So that also is not a bad thing, but it is not taken well at certain points of time. In army, there is a structured way of hierarchy. So you know that if you are one day senior, you are always going to be a senior. So the relationship building is much better in the organization than in the corporate world.
So I'll take it up from here because since you said that hierarchy is followed, but nowadays how the corporate is moving, the environment in which we are in. So basically, they give preference or priority to the people who are skilled. Everything is kind of skill based. So do you think that uh, in the armed forces it is still yet to be worked out in a way, because there are times when few people do become redundant with age and experience. Yes, it does matter, but if you're not upskilling yourself, then it might become a deterrent for the environment. What is your take on that?
In army, there is a specific way and there's a specific structure. Even if you're upskilling, it becomes at a very personal level. And then at that personal level, you can still upskill the people around you or your subordinates. But in terms of corporate life, it is not like that. It is very personal. So because there is a possibility that people can jump from one organization to another. There is no limitation, there is no bond that you have signed. So therefore people have to upskill. If they don't upskill, either they'll be laid off or they will not get an opportunity in pay hikes. So there, the skill upliftment is a completely different angle, and it has to be done if you want to rise up, whether in the same organization or jump or get absorbed into another organization in another country. So that is their milestones or their goals. But in the organization as army, we are all within a particular unit. So we have to follow what our commanding officer has a vision for us. Now, it is all up to the commanding officer's skill. So, if he upskills and if he changes the way the unit is built or where the unit is going to run, then it will be a big difference to even the soldiers as well as the officers under him. So they will learn something. If it's just going to go as routine as a standard operating procedure, then it will be the same. So there, the kind of structuring is different than in the corporate world, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much. But then, if I may ask, go a step further again, based on your question, do you think that there are certain things from the army that can be incorporated in the corporate also, and from the corporate we can take, there can be few takeaways? Vis-a-vis, I meant to say that we can work it out both ways, because I have a point in question, because since we are talking about a government organization, that is the armed forces, sometimes complacency do set it, because we are doing a job and we know that there is a job security and all that. And in the corporate you always have to prove yourself on a daily basis. It's very regular and in a very routine. So do you think, uh, is it a deterrent or it is not, being in a government organization? Do people
No,
become complacent?
so if you're for a short period of time, this complacency doesn't matter, like how it was with me. There, I had learned different things other than how the functioning is. But if you're for a long period of time, like a permanent commission, this basically is not complacency, ma'am. This basically is the way they are structured. if that structure has to be completely restructured, then it has to be done at a very higher level, and the entire configuration of a unit and the system that they work on, the digitalization, everything happens on a very higher scale. But when it comes to a unit level organization system, it is already, that is why I'm saying, ma'am, army is a very structured unit. Even if today I am the CEO of the unit, if I leave tomorrow, somebody will take over from where I left. So it's very structured. But in corporate, if I leave today, the until and unless I have structured my files or saved my files or kept everything in a very organized way in the cloud, then only somebody can take over. Otherwise, it becomes a big hassle. And that is why from corporate, when I shifted to a business or entrepreneurship, that's what I realized, that being in a corporate is more disorganized to some level, where I have been in two corporates. So being with them, I felt that army is more structured. Things just, even if you're not there, it will just go as per planning. But in corporate, you need somebody sitting and channelizing the entire structure of it. If that person leaves, it'll be a mess. If that person leaves in between, or if there's a planned exit, then it's okay. That's why I decided to leave corporate and start my business on my own.
So now that you are an entrepreneur yourself, you're doing everything on your own. What kind of a suggestion you would give to women who are leaving their field, in the sense they're starting as an entrepreneur or trying something new, a second innings. That's why it's called reset point. So if they're starting all over again, or if there has been a lady who's been a housewife and now she has the time and now she's starting all over, do you want to give some suggestions to them?
I decided to start over. So transition is not easy. Transition in any field, if you're going from one organization to another, money wise, you're going to be paid. And as an officer, my CTC continues to the next organization, and I can always ask for more. And I know there's going to be a monthly salary which will be coming into my bank. Now, after I worked for a couple of years, then I decided to start business, because business is not easy. You need to set yourself in business, so you need to have a certain capital. All this needs to be planned till you become settled in the business. If it is successful, you're settled. If it is not, then you still struggle. So there is struggle, ma'am. But when it comes to transitioning from an organization to a business, you really need to identify what is your skill. And now for me, I am an architect. I did my BArch from JJ College of Architecture. After leaving the army, I went abroad, did my master's in project construction project management, came back, did another master's in safety management. So I decided that I'm not going to go into mainstream architecture, but I will go into the management part of architecture, that is site inspection, evaluation, so on and so forth. Now, I identified my goal. And after that, I ventured into a new space, because for me, including training, it was almost 7 years. So the market has already changed. So I had to get into as a student and to understand what are the new technologies in the market and how are things being done. So whether immaterial of whether it is a woman officer who is leaving and transitioning, or a wife who's leaving, a lady wife or an army wife who's leaving and transitioning, both need to be completely well equipped with the knowledge in that stream where they want to transition. Because today, when you have experience, people come up to you. But if you don't have the knowledge to support that experience, then whether it is anybody, they will not be accepted. And they will be mocked at, or they will be said that, okay, she doesn't know anything. So one thing is, as a woman also, you're under a spotlight, and also as an skilled entrepreneur, you're under a spotlight. And especially in my field, being construction, again from a male oriented organization, army, I have stepped into a male oriented organization. I mean, career, which is architecture and which is construction basically. So the labor is all men. The counterparts or my opponents are all men. So it is all upon how I have to upskill myself to stand strong and continue with my field in architecture. How different I am, what is my USP, everything has to be first chalked out. What am I providing different that others are not providing? What is goal specific requirements, and what is new in the market that I will be providing? So all this knowledge is required to be assessed and to also to be reciprocated verbally to your client, so that they know that you are aware.
Got your point. So I would also request you to even tell me something about when you were changing over. Did you ever feel irrelevant because you had hung up your uniform? Did ever you felt a little uncomfortable, or you were very comfortable, just open playing ground? Was there a moment of hesitation ever?
Just the word major before my name welcomed me into any room. So it's just that I call up somebody and I say, I'm an architect, I'm Major Divya Pillai, I'm a retired army officer, that's it. So the name has entered before the person. So for me, the transition was more welcoming at many points, many levels. And also I have also helped a lot of students, because this has also given me a channel to guide children. I have 2 years I've worked in a architecture college as a visiting faculty. So the inspiration by the word major and the personality has been welcoming. In fact, I was surprised that I was accepted more freely than a normal woman in any field. So that was really, really very. It really felt very good, ma'am, and I also felt very uplifting. I never felt underconfident, because then, yes, of course, the next line would be, "What are you providing?" So, do you know your work? How long? What is your experience? Then comes experience, ma'am. So the first thing is, being a retired army officer really helped me enter into unknown lands.
Yeah. So one more thing I'd like to ask you, since you were talking about leaving a male-dominated workforce and then entering another one. What is your take today in the when we are talking about patriarchal society? Has there been any change according to you, since you are again working in a male-dominated society and a male-dominated world? So has there been any change towards the women and their approach towards women?
To be very frank, my life in the army has been a blessing. I have never felt like I'm a woman. The way my unit groomed me, my men accepted me, and thereafter as an officer, and the word Saab was associated at every level. I It never felt that I'm a woman there. But when I entered into the civil life, when I came to Hyderabad to start my work, there is still a gap. Now that I have completely gotten into the field of architecture with clients who I don't know at all, so they come to me because seeing my work. So there are many people who still don't look into my eyes and talk, or they will call their wife who will talk to me. So and but the minute I am on site getting the work done, so there is a level of they still feel very uncomfortable. So there this patriarchal issue, I don't think um, I have seen it go completely. But yes, I am fortunate enough to have clients whose wives are more proactive than their husbands.
Oh,
So
great.
they are the ones who come on site, they are the ones who talk to the boys, they are the ones who tell their requirements, and they are the ones who also deal with the money. So I've been astonished at some level. Of course, at home they have their own limitations, but they're brilliant. So even if they are homemakers, they are quite strong. They have independently stood there and got the things were done with me. So yes, patriarchal system, I don't see it much these days. But also these days I'm doing army officers' houses predominantly, because I feel there is a level of trust when it comes to giving it to a retired army officer. So there is there is a beautiful relationship I have with each of my clients, and I'm so happy that it, and I pray to God that it continues.
Thanks a lot, Divya. And one very important question which I've been waiting to ask you is, uh, tell me which part of the army lives in you today, with you, that stays with you and that will always stay with you. And what have you consciously let go of?
Consciously, there is nothing that I have let gone of. Once a Fauji, always a Fauji. I will never let go of anything that I have
I
learned from
totally
this
agree with you.
organization.
I'm also a
I
Fauji, right?
cannot. I cannot, ma'am. It is very difficult. But what I have as a whole, as I say, Forge is in my blood. It cannot leave me. And it will also not leave me after my death. I will always be a Forgy, and I'll always be remembered as one. And I really thank the organization. And I really wish that women consider this organization if they have a lot of passion in them, because this organization is great. If you know how to live and go walk through it, you will always remember it for life.
Now you've given a piece of advice for women who are transitioning and changing over. I would like to address the Gen Z who are entering corporates, or even they probably you also know their girls are coming through NDA now, which is such a huge success,
Huge.
which is such a great news for all of us.
Great
But
news.
what piece of advice you will give to them, whether they are entering the army or they are entering a new phase of their life? What advice you will give to these little girls and boys too?
Ma'am, I am fortunate enough to be, pivotal in helping students enter into the armed forces today. And today evening only, I met one of a very young captain. So he was leaving the MCME 3 years degree course. And every time he meets me, there is so much joy and so much happiness because he got through NDA. And those days, those days he used to call me and say, "Will I get through?" I said, "You have nothing less in you. If you have it, if you have enough of Josh in you, enough of confidence, you just need to go and get it. You have the passion. Passion is something that you need to have. If you are passionate, you can sail through any difficult area." The same thing I would like to tell every Gen Z today. If you are passionate about anything, you should be crazy. If you want something in life, you must not think of anything else. There should not be any distraction. If you have distractions, that's it. Your goals are lost. Whatever you want, write it in a piece of paper, place it in front of your bed, get up every morning and say, "I want to become this and I will be this." Rather, you should say, "I am an army officer." And you just have to place it there every morning. Just tell that you are an army officer, and you will automatically, it's all psychological. Today I've seen Gen Z's are very distracted, lot of things on the phone, lot of activities. They want just followers and all that. No, you have to see, what if you really want to be an army officer, you need to be passionate, you need to be disciplined, ingrain these things in yourself from the beginning. Before I joined the army, I decided that I wanted to join. I'm going to do my SSB from Bangalore. I ran away from Hyderabad, went to Bangalore, did my internship. I knew I'm going to get my call in Bangalore. So I had already, that was a kind of a madness that I had. And then I used to get up 4 o'clock in the morning, go for my run. Even if it is a small run, my body was not very strong because I come from a very protected family. Even in spite of being a defense background, being a girl, I was very protected. I wanted to. In the evening, I went to the gym, made up my stamina, and I knew that I am going to be an army officer. You need that. You need that mindset. You need that craziness in you. Without that, you cannot achieve anything. Forget about being an army officer. You cannot achieve anything until and unless you are passionate. You're focused. You cannot achieve anything. You have to be focused. That is the mantra of life.
That I can see it in you. So, since Divya has spoken so nicely and she has conveyed it to all of us that अगर आपके अंदर जज्बा है, जुनून है, तो बाद में अपने आप ही सुकून मिल जाता है. So my last question to you, Divya, which is very important for all of us, is finish the sentence. My reset point taught me.
Taught me that life has full of challenges, and with challenges come risks. We need to take risk at every stage of our life. Whether we transition from one phase of our life to another, we need to have a mindset. We need to have goals. And growth comes with the right mindset. What is growth? Growth is nothing but a gap between what your life you want to be and what the life you're living in right now. And if we understand this, we can create a new chapter in our lives. We create the narrative and we decide what is the path and the journey we need to live. And therefore, your journey that you make, you will inspire others to live and to win with confidence, courage, and conviction.
Thank you so much, Divya. It was so all joshed up. So I'm sure everybody will also be joshed up listening to you. And my effort in this has been to get you all to the audience so that they also get inspired through you all. It is never too late and it is never impossible to restart again, to reset, to transition from wherever you are. So this is one of my maiden effort, and I'm going to be coming with you more guests who have made a massive change and a shift in their life, and they are going to be inspiring you. And thank you so much, Major Divya, for
Thank you,
coming,
ma'am.
giving us such a huge knowledge, and we really enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Major Divya. Thank you.
You are also
Thank
my
you.
inspiration, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jai Hind, ma'am.